With breaking news coverage for TV6 and Fox UP, I'm Ben Kuchnerkavich. As more damage is revealed from spring flooding, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is in Upper Michigan, just landing a few moments ago, with a news conference scheduled to start at 1:15 Eastern Time. Upper Peninsula leaders will join her as she signs an emergency disaster declaration for additional counties to assist with flood recovery efforts. We're going to take you now to live video from our Sky Tracker 6 drone of the current water levels in Republic Township from the Michigamme River. We first showed you this area on Wednesday morning. Now it's important to note water levels have receded a bit here. On Monday, Governor Whitmer activated the State Emergency Operations Center due to flooding caused by snowmelt in several UP counties. Whitmer declared a state of emergency in Houghton and Gogibbet counties last Friday. The Michigan State Police say Ontonagon, Baraga, and Marquette counties have declared local emergencies and are expected to be added to the state declaration. Again, we are awaiting a news conference from Governor Whitmer that's scheduled to start at 1:15. Along with Governor Whitmer, we expect to hear from the Marquette County Emergency Management Director Brian Hummel, MDOT Emergency Manager Aaron Johnson, State Senator Ed McBroom, State Representative Jen Hill, and State Representative Greg Markinen. Again, we are awaiting Whitmer to come to the podium. She just landed a few moments ago in her chopper there at the Michigan State Police Negaunee Post, right across the street here from TV6. As soon as she starts speaking, we will bring that to you. Now again, Houghton and Gogibbet counties currently in this state of emergency that's been declared at the state level. Local level for Baraga, Marquette, and Ontonagon counties. What this means, the addition of them to the state level state of emergency, means resources from the state level can be distributed over towards these local communities here to help with repairs from the flood damage that we saw. We've seen damage in the Lake Linden area. We've seen damage also across portions of Marquette County. Many county roads were closed. Some actually remain closed. Now, Whitmer is expected to be out shortly, and we will soon hear from her. We'll take you back to the drone footage now from the Republic area of some of the water levels there. Now again, some of these levels have receded, so the worst of the flooding appears to be over, at least for the time being. But the combination of that snowmelt we've seen across the area along with the precipitation that's fallen over the past few days has just exacerbated the flooding concerns across portions of Upper Michigan. After the press conference, we're going to hear from meteorologist Noel Navarro, who will tell us a little bit more about the meteorology behind the situation here. Some areas had snow depth of over 3 feet, some areas over 4 feet, and that melting so quickly as the temperatures warmed up into the 70s certainly made for a situation where much of Upper Michigan experienced this flooding. It happened so rapidly out there. Certainly nice to have the warm temperatures this time of year, but it does come with the concern of the flooding that was created. So this live look over Republic Township, some of the areas that are still experiencing road closures. We saw just recently County Road CD Mail Route Road was reopened in Marquette County. Marquette County Road Commission also reopened County Road CG, that's Steel Bridge Road, and County Road HD, that's Harlow Lake Road. The levels here, especially in northern portions of Dickinson County, experiencing some moderate flooding. We saw some flood advisories in effect for the Kingsford Dam and the Big Quinnipiac Dam, anywhere from Iron Mountain to Kingsford over towards Quinnipiac, also impacting areas like Aurora in Florence County and Niagara in northwest Marinette County. The green you see there, no flooding. So a lot of areas, especially off towards the west, are starting to get into some decent shape out there. We're still watching for those at least near flood stage areas across much of central, southern, and eastern UP. Well, now we're going to take you back to a live picture from just across the street at the Michigan State Negaunee Post, where we are awaiting Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer to speak at a press conference here, where she's expected to announce the addition of 3 counties to the state-level state of emergency due to flooding here. Snowmelt just very significant out there, with some areas over 3 feet on the ground, much of Upper Michigan, some areas over 4 feet on the ground. So again, we're watching the current river levels out there, and for a further breakdown of that, we're going to take you to meteorologist Noel Navarro.
Thank you, Ben, and hello everybody. And we're taking a look at the current river levels, and in focus for the county is going to be added. It's going to be Ontonagon, Baraga, Marquette counties to add to also Houghton and Gogebic counties earlier this week. The river levels in concern will be around the shades of the orange and red, which means it's exceeded flood stage, and we're looking at some minor to moderate flooding in those areas, especially over southwest Marquette County and into areas of North Dickinson County. The Michigamme River near Witch Lake is above flood stage. Currently, in the last reports from NOAA, 10.2 feet, and the crest was 11.9 feet. It's going to start gradually falling. Michigamme River near Republic, this is where it's above flood stage, 9.7 feet, and looking for that to fall as well. Menominee River at Niagara is around the 8 feet mark. We're also just going to be looking at mainly those counties affected, Marquette County in particular. Flooding and erosion near the streams and lakes. This is County Road 581 from Aaron Nogues earlier this week in the Ishpeming area. And Ben talked about the flooding around County Road LG near Republic. And this is from Brett Pullman, and this is what happened earlier this week. There were impassable roads on this area stretch of Marquette. So this is where we're focused, and remember, we see that the orange and red are the main areas of focus on the map, but you see it's just green for Ontonagon, green for Gogebic County, and even into areas of Houghton County. That's not to eliminate the threat at all, because the current snow depth is anywhere from 6 feet or 6 inches or more for some areas, including the highlands between Baraga and Marquette County, the Ontonagon County of the Porcupine Mountain Wilderness Range, and also into areas of northern Houghton County. So this snow melt eventually could help exacerbate or make it worse for the conditions that we're expecting. And hey, the state of emergency is on.
And well, how rare is it for the snow to melt so quickly like this?
Well, okay, just especially last week with the drastic warm temperatures. We got highs around the 80-degree mark, right? That just accelerated the snow melt, and here we are in the UP. I mean, we're in close proximity to all these streams. So once it starts melting, we get the effect of it immediately. And the thing about this is that when the snow melt does happen and the water tries to seep to the ground, we can't get it right now at this time of year. There's still that transition where we've got soil frost. That frost depth could prevent most of that water to start seeping down into the ground. Instead, it sticks around there, and then as we got pooling of water in some areas near the rivers and streams like the County Road LG in Republic or even Ishpeming earlier this week. We're not just dealing with pooling of the water there, but the water also erodes the ground, and some road damages could be found. So this state of emergency and the support is much needed, because again, it's accelerated. We had snow depth over 4 feet earlier in the month, and then it's just drastically melted. There's only half a foot to a foot for some areas out west at best right now, Ben. So this accelerated snow melt, thankfully it's not going to be a heat wave. It's just going to be more mild with a temperature trend. We're looking at more of a gradual melt versus a more intense melt like we had last week.
All right, thank you, Noel. Let's head over to Governor Whitmer right now, who is expected to start speaking momentarily. This is a news conference that was scheduled to start at 1:15, but along with Governor Whitmer, we expect to hear from Marquette County Emergency Management.
Well, hi everybody. Thanks for coming. Obviously, I'm here to survey the damage that we have experienced here in the Upper Peninsula across a number of counties. I want to first start by thanking the first responders who have shown up in tough circumstances, our police, fire, EMS, Michigan State Police. I want to thank Brian Hummel and the Emergency Operations Center folks who've been working so hard, and of course my legislative partners who are here, Representative Hill, Representative Markkanen, and Senator McBroom. It's been a tough couple of weeks for the Upper Peninsula. We've had massive flooding and late season blizzard. Upers have been hit hard with heavy snowfall followed by rapid melting. Has burst dams, overwhelmed stormwater surfaces, washed out roads, and failed embankments. And I know it's going to be a tough weekend and tough days ahead, but we are starting to see some reason for optimism. But we are very sober about the important work that we have to do here together. So while it's been tough, we're Michiganders, we're strong, and there's no one stronger than the Upers, that's for damn sure. So we will get through this together with our spirit of sisu and collaboration. A week ago, I declared a state of emergency in 2 counties here in the Upper Peninsula. Today, I'm signing an executive order expanding the state of emergency to 6 additional counties: Alger, Baraga, Dickinson, Iron, Marquette, and Ontonagon. By declaring a state of emergency, we can make more resources available. Last Friday's declaration, which I'm about to expand, authorized the Michigan State Police Emergency Management and Homeland Security Division to coordinate and maximize state efforts in conjunction with local agencies. So we will continue working with local officials and emergency crews to keep families safe and to assist communities as they recover from flooding. If you need immediate assistance, please dial 911, go online, or dial 211 to report damage. It's important that all damage is reported and can be recorded, so as we seek resources to address, we've got a full and accurate accounting. The MSP also urges Michiganders to avoid impacted areas while emergency crews and first responders help residents and assess the damage. For up-to-date information and alerts, please follow at MSP 8th District and at MDOT_UP on Twitter. To the families and businesses and communities impacted by the flooding, I want you to know that Michiganders across the state will have your back. We'll be here for you in the best ways that we can be. We will send resources and personnel to ensure that you have what you need to be safe and to rebuild. We will do what it takes, and together we will get through this. So with that, I want to introduce Brian Hummel, the emergency coordinator, who's been working diligently with his team to make sure that we're accurately assessing and helping people in need. And with that, I will hand it over to Brian.
Good afternoon. I'm Brian Hummel, the emergency manager here in Marquette County. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Governor Whitmer, for being here. Want to start by expressing our appreciation for the support from the state. We've been working with numerous state agencies since this started over a week ago, and it's been really great collaborating with them, and they've been providing us the resources that we need to better serve our citizens. We've been following the spring melt issues, as I said, for the last week. And we still have some concerns for the residents in Republic and Michigami along the Michigami River. So those are conditions that we continue to monitor very closely. And in talking and working with the National Weather Service, we believe that river levels will start to subside. We've already seen some improvements on conditions. Ask residents that are out there and still cut off from ingress or egress from their homes to please call 211 to report any non-emergency issues. And if you have an emergency need to leave your home for some reason, by all means call 911, and we're ready and able to assist those citizens. Thank you.
And Brian is handing it over to who calls it? Aaron. Okay. Aaron's.
Good afternoon, Aaron Johnson with MDOT. Thankfully, I'm able to say at this point today, our state trunk lines are in good shape and we don't have any closures currently. We did have a couple remaining ones yet this morning. South of Marquette on M35, we had alternating lanes with a traffic signal, and then we've had a closure over on the west end by Sunday Lake in Wakefield that's been very inconvenient for commerce and for residents and everybody needing to move through there. But we were able to open that this morning, so thankfully. So we're continuing to monitor and inspect and keep our fingers crossed that we don't have any big events coming again soon, because the ground is saturated and we're not out of the water yet, so to speak. As far as helping and coordinating with our local agency partners, MDOT local agency program is in close communication with the counties involved on a daily basis, and as those county partners wait for the water to recede and can further assess, which this process is going to take days and into weeks, to be honest, to fully assess the extent of the damage, we will be helping them properly document those damages and submit for follow-on federal funding, hopefully. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to sign the declaration. Can you hold on? Thank you.
Well, as Governor Whitmer signs the declaration there, you've been watching a live news conference from not only Governor Whitmer, but other UP leaders about the spring flooding. To recap what we just learned, this declaration already included Houghton and Gogibic counties. That was last Friday. Today, 6 counties have been added. Alger, Baraga, Dickinson, Iron, Marquette, and Ontonagon counties signed to this executive order for a state-level state of emergency to open up state resources into these local areas. If you have flooding in your area, for non-emergencies, all the leaders urge you to call the number 211. Obviously, if you're having an emergency, the number would be 911. But for non-emergency flooding, that number is 211. Now, the governor said she toured in a chopper with Michigan State Police today above the Michigamme River, and you saw some of the drone footage earlier as well. Currently, it seems like Republic Township is experiencing some of the most impacts in Upper Michigan, at least right now, as some areas are starting to see improvements as the water levels start to recede just a little bit out there. But again, you've been watching this news conference today. We saw flooding, of course, across much of Upper Michigan, the Lake Linden area, Rapid River as well. MDOT did say in the news conference that they have reopened the alternating lanes of traffic in the M35 area. Those lanes were again alternating due to some of the water over the roadway there. Areas near Wakefield have also opened up. We saw the Ewan Trout Creek areas also experiencing some significant flooding. Over the Ewan area, that led to Ewan Trout Creek schools being closed for a period of time as well.
This again, you mentioned this earlier during the segment that we do still have our National Weather Service flood alerts throughout the region. Zooming in up towards the Copper Country, a flood warning and a flood advisory. That flood warning counting more across areas of eastern Houghton County getting towards Baraga. That's around concerning the Sturgeon River. We get into the central UP. We're looking at the Michigamme River impacts, Republic South, going down into areas towards Segola, and there's where the flooding potential could happen again, because that's where Witch Lake is, and there's some moderate flooding in those areas. And not to discount where we have southern and eastern UP areas with flood alerts as well. The Menominee River is above flood stage going down towards Marinette and Menominee. So watching out for some areas there for anyone traveling down towards Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago. And again, flood safety tips, just keep reminding, you always want to move to higher ground, turn around, don't drown. We talk about that 1 foot of water that will float most vehicles. It only takes my little car half a foot of that to start losing control, and just not a good time to be around in those areas there. So,
all right, thank you, Noel. And just to recap now, 8 counties are included in this disaster declaration. Initially last Friday, it was just Houghton and Gogibic counties. Today, 6 counties added: Alger, Baraga, Marquette, Ontonagon, Iron, and Dickinson counties. So that brings the total to 8. Our coverage of today's expanded disaster declaration continues online and on air tonight, starting with your TV6 First Look at 5 Eastern. For now, I'm Ben Kuchner-Kavich.